this is the RPG Crawler, and welcome to the channel update for June 2016. Oh, it's been one of those months. I did so well on keeping to my set-aside schedule for last month that I was going into this month with high hopes, and then I completely dropped the ball this month. I was sick on 2 of the days that I do most of my recording, and ended up having to do it as the week went on, amongst other, actual work things. And then I actually ran into a lot of technical problems this month. So I'm going to be getting the full schedule of stuff that I had in mind up. It's just like last week's Tabletops and Taverns. Some of it may be a day or 2 or 3 or 4 late, but it should all be getting in before the end of the month. I'm going to work double hard. So looking forward to this month, I've got 2 RPG reviews coming up this month. One of them is going to be like a dual review kind of thing. I'm going to review kind of a board game and an application that goes with it. And the reason why I chose that was because I wanted to try out some new things. I wanted to try getting some video that was not just me sitting in front of a camera or just me playing games. So I was trying to capture video from my tablet and capture live video from another room. So what happened was I set it up, and it was an experiment. It was a grand experiment. I was doing it like Saturday evening, and I got like 4 hours of me playing this board game and like playing with the included app so I could get the footage for both reviews. And when I went to review the footage, only like 15 minutes of it was usable because it was an entirely new setup. So I wasted like 4 hours of my life doing that shit. But I learned lessons, and I believe that I'll still be able to get the footage up. I've just finished scripting it, so I should be, it's supposed to be up tomorrow, or actually it's supposed to be up today. But I just finished scripting it because I did get enough actual gameplay, in my head to do the review and get my features. And I'm going to go back and try the same techniques that I was using before, except this time I won't fail, and I will capture what footage I need. So look forward to something like that. It's not a major thing. It's more along the lines of, I need to do a review and I would like to try out some new techniques. Because I want to go forward with getting things on tablet and doing more footage that isn't just a fat man sitting behind a desk. And I'll own that title. I'll own that title. An old role player. Oh yeah, and then for RPG story time, I've already got the stories that I want to get in front of the camera. I will record probably the first one tonight, and you may actually see that before the RPG Crawler reviews. And I know I was supposed to do this video yesterday, so yeah, you can see how I'm falling behind. And when I fall behind on one thing, it just like cascades all the way down. Between technical failures and me being ill, and then household drama, etc. So it gets far behind. But I'll get everything up for you guys. Don't worry about that. In terms of the Let's Plays, I have just finished recording the last few episodes of Baldur's Gate 2 Shadows of Amn. I'm going to take a break for a couple days on that before I go into the Throwing a Ball content, and I'm going to go back to either Oblivion or Planescape, or probably both, and try to get those things sorted out so I can actually get some footage off them and continue with those Let's Plays, because I really, really want to get in on those. It's something that I've really been focused on getting those up and running again, but I just haven't had time. I estimate it's going to take me like a day and a half. I've mentioned this in a comment to somebody. I estimate it's going to take me like a day and a half of solid work to get my Oblivion installed, just cleaned up and put back together and get on track. And I just haven't had. I have literally not had a day and a half, or even a day to work on that. As for the Planescape, I'll be tooling around with it tonight, trying to get it to work again, because I really want to continue that one, because that one was just getting interesting, and then it crashed. And it's a known crash, it's a known bug. There's like about a zillion different suggestions on how to fix it. I'll try and fix it. But knowing that, expect to see those pick up pretty soon. Assuming that I can actually get them to work. I hope that I can get them to work. Then as for other Let's Plays, I've got a bunch of suggestions. I've got a bunch of suggestions in the queue already. I was gonna do Siege of Dragonspear, and I still intend to. I just don't know if I'm gonna do it next, because I hear they're still putting some bug patches out. They've had, one or two major updates since I last addressed it. And I haven't tried them out to see how they work, so we'll see how that goes. But I want to get some more different Let's Plays in first before I go back on that train, so to speak. Man, I'm gonna have to cut out so much of this. I'm hacking up a lung. I'm still sick. I'm prone to some sensitivity to the weather, and where I live, it has just been constantly raining for like a month and a half. So all of the atmospheric effects of that is kind of getting on my lungs. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, the D&D game, which people have been telling me that they enjoy it, is just basically Curse of Strahd with some touches of my own. I know a lot of people that will play Curse of Strahd and wonder what the fuck I'm doing with it, but I'm just adding a little bit of touch here and there to keep my players interested and to keep my viewers interested. So it's not 100% Curse of Strahd, but it's heavily based on Curse of Strahd. And I'm still learning the D&D 5th edition rule set, so I'm making mistakes, but I'm learning from them. I'm glad most of the feedback I've got on that has been positive. And I've got another session of it on my drive waiting for me to edit it and put it up. Should see it in the next week or so. After that, one of my players got a new job contract, so he's going to be like out of contact for a week. And then afterwards, for the next few months, he's only going to be available like 3 days every 2 weeks. So I'm going to have to reschedule the game so that it will catch him on his days off. And that's the Javox player, so he'll be like all over the place. So I'm going to have to play merry hell scheduling it. I've got a few ideas for another D&D game that I want to run, and here's the problem: is I gotta assemble another group. Now I've already got 2 or 3 volunteers, but I mean from my non-YouTube related stuff. I'm kind of wondering though, and this is just a thought balloon, just to, as I usually do these things, I concept it out, and then like a couple months later I make the arrangements, and then like maybe 6 months later I actually get through with it. But here's my thought balloon thrown out there. Should I do like a D&D game where I invite my long-term subscribers and or viewers to participate in it? Because I know several of my subscribers have their own YouTube channels, and I try to give them shout-outs whenever I can. I know I'm not a big YouTube channel, but I try and give them shout-outs whenever I can, because a lot of them really produce some enjoyable stuff. A lot of them produce material that is not like... The reason I don't give them more shout-outs on some of them is because they produce... They focus on games that aren't RPGs, and I know a lot of my viewers are just focused on RPGs, but I'll give them shout-outs whenever I can. I try. But anyway, back to my original point, I know a bunch of them have their own YouTube channels, and therefore they probably have the equipment to do a video chat thing. And I know a lot of my people without YouTube channels also probably have the equipment to do the video chat thing. So that's a question. Should I do like a viewer game? Like where I run like 5th edition, or even Swords and Wizardry, or one of the older versions of D&D for my viewers. I know that I was planning on doing something like that when I get a Patreon together, and yes, there will be a Patreon coming for this channel at some point. I was going to hold off on it until I get like 1,000 subscribers, and I'm on my way. You guys are awesome at spreading the word. I wish I was more awesome at spreading my own word, but hey, I got time. I got things to do, and I'm going to try focusing on making content rather than doing marketing. So yeah, that reminds me. This month was supposed to be the month where I go ahead and get my shit together and do all my internet marketing and start looking into other social media networks and actually participating on Reddit and shit like that. I've been looking into it, but as I said, I've been like a day late and $1 short this entire month. So I'm probably gonna like assemble like a plan, like using all the research I can, and any suggestions you guys want to give me. Just kind of assembling them all together, things I need to do, and then probably implementing it towards the end of the month and or next month, and then keep on implementing it, because that's the thing with getting the word out is and general social networking is that you can't just do it once. You got to actually step on it and keep doing it every time you can, every chance you get. So anyway, back to my original point. Subscriber / viewer D&D, or maybe like a Patreon D&D thing, or maybe both as time goes on. Maybe both as time goes on. For future thoughts. Any thoughts about that? Any ideas that you guys might want to see on that? Leave me a comment below. Tabletop stuff. Tabletops and taverns. I'm behind on it, but I did low fantasy and role playing for my last one, and the next one's going to be high fantasy and role playing. And I've got about a zillion topics to talk about, but if there's anything that you particularly want me to see me prioritize, I'll go ahead and throw it together. I hope you guys have been enjoying it. I know it's kind of like basically just listening to an old man go on about how he thinks that certain aspects of the game should work. And I know I don't have like the line of credits of an actual designer out there. Most of the stuff I've designed I have not put out, so I don't know. Is that enjoyable for you guys? Yes, no, maybe? Let me know. I enjoy doing it. I want to kind of focus on it. And it's been getting a fair amount of views, so I mean, it's worthwhile to me to continue to do that. But if you want to see me change the format, if you got any suggestions for the format on that, let me know. Because as I said with my RPG Crawler reviews, how I'm modifying the way I film things for those reviews, I might be able to start putting some of that, those techniques into, future RPG Crawler content, like the tabletops and taverns stuff. Try and vary it up so you're just not watching me talk to a camera for a half hour or so. Ideas. I've got so many ideas for content and so little time to do it. One thing I want to say thank you for is I've noticed, like especially with my last one, my Indie Game Fridays, not a lot of times, but sometimes the developers will come in and comment on the Indie Game Fridays I put together. I know they're not the most professional things in the world, but thank you very much for your comments and thank you for watching them, because it's like every time that I put an Indie Game Friday out, and make no mistake, a lot of them don't get many views. I try to promote it. Well, it's not that they don't get a lot of views. They get about the same initial subset of views as any of my other stuff. They do accrue more views over time. And that's really where the kicker comes in, because I can do indie game. I'm still getting people commenting and or viewing my Indie Game Fridays, what I did in 2014. So that stuff, once it's up, it's going to be hopefully drawing eyes and hopefully drawing purchases of your games for a long time, hopefully. But yeah, when I see one of those developers thanking me for doing coverage, and I know I'm not the biggest channel, I just do what I can. That's why I do it. Because independent games are an important part of innovation in games in general. And not all indie games are great. In fact, quite a few of them are bad. But that is the whole idea about having an independent game, is that you can try some things that a AAA publisher would not even dream about. And I know it's difficult because as a background, I did go to school for game programming and design. I did take classes in programming, in game systems, in mathematics, in artificial intelligence, that sort of thing. I know how difficult it is to make one of those games. That's probably the reason I'm not making them myself at this point, although I probably should throw one together at some point. But I know how difficult it is to make a game as an indie developer, and have mad props for those who stick it out and put one together, even if it doesn't turn out super great. So what I try to do, I know there's a lot of people that will just lay into games on the internet, and if you're one of those people that, if you like seeing that sort of thing, well, number one, I got an upcoming series that may interest you whenever I get time for it. But for the most part, when I cover a game on Indie Game Friday, it means that that game was of interest to me. Now, it may not be the best, but it means that I've got generally positive things to say about it. In my Indie Quicks, which are like indie games that don't have an RPG format, I get a lot of those sent to me. And if you see something pop up on Indie Quick, even if I heavily criticize it, it's something that I'm interested in. Because I have recorded a lot of Indie Quicks and such where I looked at it and I'm like, this is absolute trash. And some people say, oh, put up the absolute trash to warn people against it. But I've got so many other things going on that I would like to put up those that have some sort of positive aspect or some sort of something that I had fun playing. And if I did not have fun playing it, then do you really want to see me just trash it for like 10, 15 minutes straight? And that's not helpful to me because I don't really like doing that. And it's not really helpful to the indie developer. Unless, there are valid criticisms to be had. And things like the Cycle of Tearfing, for instance, when I point out I like that game, I really like that game, had some elements that could use improvement, especially with early access games. I'll go ahead and say, well, they need to polish this, this, and this, but overall I like the direction it's going. And I'm not going to just sit there and go, oh, this game is shit, this game is garbage, or whatever, as amusing as that may be for some people. I don't think that's constructive. I think it's constructive when you tell somebody how they probably could improve it. But yeah, that's why I have that whole segment in this. Why I have the Indie Game Fridays, because I believe it's a very important part of gaming. One thing I am going to do that is probably in a negative light, and I know I'm going to immediately just go ahead and turn around and call bullshit on my own, saying, oh, I want to be positive. No, I've been putting together a list of some of the worst role-playing games ever made. And I think what I would like to do is do in-depth reviews on things of that nature. Things that were, if not fatally flawed, then damn nearly so on release. And that one is going to be played for humor. Because some of these games, a lot of these games were AAA when they came out, or damn near AAA when they came out. And a lot of them have no excuse for being the way they were. So I'm going to try and get one or two of those together. I don't know if I'm going to do them that often, maybe once a month or so. Grabbing footage for them is painful because a lot of them are so crap because they can't even run. So even like the usual stuff I do to get my old games running, like DOSBox or using an older operating system or whatever, even on the original operating system, some of these things had a hard time running. So if you've got any suggestions for worst games ever made, not worst games ever made, worst role-playing games ever made, leave me a comment or leave me a private message or whatever, and I'll take a look, see if I can't add to that list at some point. But these are games that have been out so long, for the most part, that no criticism is going to help them. So I don't feel bad about trashing stuff that's been out for a long, long time, because some of it deserves it. But yeah. But there's a stark difference there. I think. In terms of next month's goal, I have not set one yet. Like I said last month, this month was going to be the social media one. I haven't set one for next month because I've been so far behind on everything. So next month is the 2-year anniversary of this. Holy fuck, have I been doing this for 2 years? Yeah, for the 2-year anniversary of this channel is coming up early next month. It's going to come up before I get my July update going, because I believe I started on like July 6th or whatever. So, yeah, man, 2 years of this. And I'm only just getting my shit together finally. Well, you know what? Thank you guys for watching. Thank you everybody who's subscribed, everybody who watches my content. I try and keep it entertaining without being over the top. Thank you all the people that leave me comments. I try to respond to them when I can. I might do like a little I read your comments sort of thing in the future. I don't know if that would go over well. Let me know if you want to see me do that. There's got a lot of interesting comments that people come up with, and unlike a lot of things I see, I try to respond to them in kind. So if somebody writes me like a book in the comments, a lot of people write pretty hefty comments on my channel because it's a role playing channel. So you have to figure a lot of the people are going to be relatively literate when they're writing the comments out. Yeah, if you want to see me do a respond to your comments bit, I will. In the meantime, I got to get back to work. And I will call it here. This has been the RPG Crawler with the channel update for June 2016. If you like what you've seen, remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more RPG content. Until next time, take care and goodbye.